I skipped my mother's funeral and sent my brother the bill for her care. My brother Danny called me at 6 a.m. the day after Mom died. Not to tell me she'd passed. I already knew that. The hospice nurse had called me first. He called to tell me what time to show up Saturday and what I was expected to bring. "You're doing the flowers and the food," he said. "I'll handle the eulogy since I was closest to her." I let that sit for a second. Closest to her. Danny lived 2 hours away and visited maybe 3 times in the last 4 years. I lived 11 minutes from Mom's place and I'd been there almost every single day for the last 3. "Okay," I said. "We should probably talk about the money too." "What money?" "The care money, Danny. The stuff I've been covering." He got quiet, then he said, "We're not doing this today. It's about honoring her right now." So I let it go. Again. I'd been letting it go for 3 years. Here's what nobody at that funeral was going to say out loud. When Mom got sick, I moved my whole life around her. I cut my hours at work. I paid for the aide who came Tuesdays and Thursdays because Danny said he'd look into options and then never did. I paid the pharmacy. I paid the co-pays. I paid for the ramp we put in when she couldn't do the porch steps anymore. Every time I brought it up, Danny had a reason. He was tight that month. The kids had a thing. He'd get me back once the estate settled. There was no estate. Mom rented. Everyone knew that except, apparently, Danny, who kept talking about when we sell the house like there was a house. The last week, when the hospice people said it was close, I asked Danny to come sit with her. Just come sit. He said he had work and he'd try for the weekend. She died on a Thursday. Saturday morning, I woke up and I got dressed for the funeral and I stood in my kitchen with my keys in my hand and I just didn't go. I sat down at my table instead. I opened my laptop and I put together every receipt I'd saved for 3 years. The aide, the pharmacy, the ramp, the co-pays, the month I covered her rent when her check was late. I'd kept all of it in a folder, not because I was planning this, but because when you're the one paying, you learn to keep records. It came to just under $19,000. I typed it all up clean, itemized, dated, I attached the receipts, and at 10:14 a.m., while Danny was standing in front of a room of relatives giving a eulogy about how close he was to our mother, I emailed him the invoice. My phone started going off during what I assume was the reception. Aunt Carol first, then my cousin, then Danny, over and over. I picked up on the 4th try. "Where were you?" he said, and his voice was shaking. "Do you have any idea how that looked?" People were asking. I had to tell them you were sick. I wasn't sick. You sent me a bill during Mom's funeral. What is wrong with you? I sent it while you were telling everyone how close you two were. I said. Figured that was the right crowd to hear it. That money was family. You don't invoice family. Funny, I said, because for 3 years you told me family pays you back once things settle. Well, things settled. She's gone. This is the settlement. He said I was cold. He said Mom would be ashamed. He said everyone at that funeral now thought I was a monster for not showing up. Danny, I said, you gave a 20-minute speech about a woman you saw 3 times while I was changing her sheets. I don't really care what that room thinks of me. He went quiet. Then he tried the last thing he had. I'm not paying that. That's okay, I said. The receipts are itemized and they're dated. I've got every one, so either you pay me back the half that was always yours, or I file it in small claims and a judge reads the same list I just sent you. Your call. Take your time. He hung up. Aunt Carol texted an hour later that I'd ruined the day. I texted back that Danny had 3 years to ruin it quietly and picked the funeral instead. He's paid back $4,000 so far, in installments. Every payment comes with no message attached, just the amount, like clockwork.